How's it going, guys? Welcome to the information video for Panhandle City version 2. This is going to be the new and improved version of our city that we're building in Minecraft. And you guys probably have a lot of questions, or maybe you're new here and you haven't seen any of the old city, and that's fine too. What I'm going to be doing is leaving the videos are going to be unlisted, meaning you can access them via link, and I will have them all in the description for you to watch in case you want to see some of the older city. However, I'm going to be, like I said, unlisting them so they won't be kind of on the main channel publicly to see anymore. Anyways, I have a bit of a script here that I'm going to try to go over. I'm going to try to keep it brief, but I also want to give a pretty comprehensive kind of just review of why we're moving to a new city and building a new one. Kind of the expectations for the new one, plans for the channel, so on and so forth. So essentially, one of the main things, after a while, we got really burned out of the old city, which is fair. That wasn't even the primary reason, but it was certainly a factor as we were getting kind of burned out of the old city. Another big thing also was we made the world on a super flat, so essentially infinite world that, while, is fine, it's just all grass, and that makes it where you kind of have to create your own boundaries and borders, and that can be very tedious using using world edit. That can be very difficult to create your own rivers and canals and straits and stuff, and mountains, whatever. It can still be difficult with just world edit alone. And so not having a kind of full boundary, not having a boundary in place, made it kind of hard to know where to go next. We would kind of just build on what we already had, which is fine. But when you don't have like kind of an end goal, it can be a little daunting, at least in my opinion, or at least that's kind of how I felt about it when I was building in the old city. Another bad thing about that was our build height. We were only 4 blocks off from bedrock, and you cannot build below that at all. I didn't set it up when I made the world for it to be super flat with 100 blocks below it or 60 blocks below it, whatever it may be. I didn't set it up that way, unfortunately. So our ambitions of doing a subway system and all that were very limited to having to have built up somewhere and done it that way. So that is quite unfortunate. That is the one thing I'm very sad about in terms of, the old city. And so I was always sad about that. And it would just always bug me. And so with this new city, that is one thing we're going to be able to fix, is to be able to actually have a build limit, where the ground, actually there's enough ground for us to be able to build a subway system and anything else underground that we would want to be able to do. Another small issue I had with the old city was simply the buildings. A lot of them were ripped schematics from online. And while I do love the idea of being able to use a bunch of different, builders and creators, different buildings, it's very easy to see that they just kind of don't go together. They don't blend together well. And the city doesn't look quite as cohesive. I will say, I think most buildings looked fine in Panhandle City version 1. And for the most part, the scales were pretty decent. However, you did have some scaling issues here and there. And you also just had, all the skyscrapers, I think, just looked very off. And so I want to create a more cohesive and themed build with Panhandle City 2. We're going to be having, spoiler alert, we're going to be having 4 cities, and it's going to be kind of a county in the new one. And I want each individual city to kind of have its own theme based off a city in real life. Obviously, I don't want it to be just completely a copy of that city, but I want it to have a theme. And so that'll allow for just a lot more cohesiveness between the buildings, allow for them to all look better, work well together. With that being said, we're not going to be able to just pull as many schematics off the internet, but it will allow for us to actually build some buildings by hand, which will be, granted tedious, but it will be worth it. And there are still plenty of good schematics out there for us to use um, in our new city as well, which I'm sure we will definitely be doing. And so that is really a lot, pretty much all the reasons why I said, all right, we got far Panhandle City. Let's take what we have and let's start fresh and let's start new with a world that's actually made specifically for the city and that we have an end goal in mind. And that's just to fill out the island. And so that'll transition kind of into my next point, which is about the what the new world actually looks like. So I made it in World Painter. Here's an image of it now. Essentially, there's a small little delta thing at the very top left. And you can also see at the very bottom, there is actually a mountain ridge line. So the entire bottom is essentially below the river that goes through the island. The entire bottom is mountains. And so that's just kind of a natural border to the island. Then everything else is pretty much like beach. And a lot of it will be built like public beaches. Some of it will be like harbor, stuff like that. So it'll have different uses. But essentially, you can see it's a 6,000 by 6,000 world total, I believe. And then the actual island itself is probably more like 4,000 by 4,000. It's hard to say exactly. But it's plenty of land. Our old city would fit like kind of right in the middle. And it would take up a good bit of the island, but there's definitely a lot more room here for us to build. And we'll be able to build those 4 cities like I mentioned. And you can kind of see that outlined in red here. I know this is very poor drawing, but it's kind of just a basic layout. I didn't want to go crazy with the planning because really it's just too early to tell for some of these things, but I did want to get just a basic plan that we can kind of go off of. So that's what I have here. You can see the 4 red outlines showcases where I want the cities to be. And then the black grid is going to be the main interstates that connect all of them together. And then the ones that run through the middle will kind of just be in a more rural area, but still there just to kind of connect everything up. And so, yeah, that is how we're planning to do it. That's kind of the size of the city. And it'll just allow us to not only be more creative and more expansive in building underground and also working with some of the terrain that I've incorporated and also just the beaches. Not only do we get to work more creatively, but we get to work in a confined space. So we know kind of where to end things. We can fill up every last block with detail. And that's exactly what I'm going for with this city. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about my level of expertise and just kind of my expectations for the city. I am by no means a expert Minecraft builder. I like to think that I can build things that look pretty nice, and that's perfect enough for me. This city is not going to be the most elegant Minecraft city you've ever seen. It is modded, which allows us to kind of build to a scale of detail that me and Colson really like. And that is, just kind of our preference. I don't like Minecraft buildings that are diagonal. I don't like roads that are built with like wool and just, blocks. And so the mods really help with that. However, it's not going to be perfect. It's just not. And, I'm sure there are people out there that could do it a lot better than me. It can make it a lot prettier than me. But at the same time, I think I have a creative vision, at least, and a creative mind that I want to incorporate into the city. And that's really what matters. It's just a personal project. It's a hobby project that I want to work on, I want to do. And that's the goal here. It's not perfection. It's to build something that's unique to me and that has sentimental value to me and Colson. And that's really the goal. It's not necessarily to build the perfect Minecraft city or have it showcased somewhere. That's not that at all. So there's going to be quirks. There's going to be things we can work around. But, your guys' feedback and other people's feedback will be perfect to just kind of make it, that much better. And I'm always open to ideas. I'm sure there's things I don't know that you guys could help me with. There's things I do know that maybe I would like better than some of the suggestions. So it just depends. That's why we're in this together, to build, to remember, and to learn. Now, I'll talk a little bit now kind of about the styles of the videos. We're going to be doing, once again, time lapse. Mainly, I want to keep them around 20 to 25 minutes. I think is a good thing. You can kind of put it on the background. You don't even have to really look at the video if you don't want. You can kind of just listen. If they're kind of more like podcast style in a way. I'm kind of just like talking. But you can, obviously it is beneficial to look and see what I'm talking about if you have the chance to, and actually see the progress we're making in the build. But I love the time-lapse style. I think they're great. You just kind of get to see, the hours and hours worth of work kind of boiled down into a 20-minute video. So you can really, it really feels like it's progressing pretty quickly, at least in the time lapses. But at the same time, it is a lot of hours of work. So it's, something to keep in mind. But we're definitely going to be doing time lapses. Are going to be the main video series. Once again, there could be different ones. We may bring back like let's build a zoo, let's build an airport, let's build a harbor, things like that, where we kind of hand design these kind of more mega projects, I would say. I think those would be fun to do. Maybe like kind of longer 40, 45 minute-ish videos or something like that. But at the same time, I don't want to make them where there's no cuts at all. Like I want it to be pretty cut, where we're making substantial progress in each video so that those, individual series don't go on forever. That's the goal. And also, I do want to do a live stream probably like every other week or something like that, where we kind of just get on for a couple hours. Maybe 3 to 4 hours, and we just build, and that will kind of be not necessarily a time lapse, but the live stream will be covering new stuff that we're building, and so you'll want to watch that in case you get to the next time lapse or something and you see something that you didn't see in the previous one. The live streams will be canonical in terms of you kind of will have to find, and I'll do my best to maybe put in the description or something like this is after this time lapse and before this time lapse, just so you kind of know in case you were looking to see me build a particular thing or something like that. Depends on how interesting it is what we're building, but anyways, that's the plan. Also, we're going to have an Instagram, which is the same Instagram we've had before, and you guys can go check it on there. I'll be releasing screenshots of the world, and also be telling you guys when we're uploading. I'll let you guys know early. If you're over there on Instagram, you can kind of find out early when we're dropping the videos. So in terms of deadlines for the city, it's going to be a hard cookie to handle. I'm going to be very busy coming up, and that is unfortunate. So I would like to maybe shoot for 1 time lapse per week, or maybe 2. I want to shoot for 2. That might be a little difficult at times, so it might just be 1. However, that's going to be the current goal. And I will still want to do a live stream, I think, every other week. So we do a live stream every other week, and then a time lapse, maybe hopefully 2 per week is going to be the goal. Potentially only 1 per week. So that's the deadlines. When will we have the city done? Who knows? It just depends on how fast we actually can progress. It's going to take a little, I would say it's going to take more time lapses once we get maybe 5, 6 in and we can see how much progress we've made. And then at that point, we'll have like a rough idea of how many it will take to finish the entire island, but it could be a multi-year project. I would not be surprised. And it also just depends on how much we work on it, obviously. But anyways, guys, I'm not going to talk much more than this. The only thing I'll leave you with is just let me know down below what type of content you prefer the most. Time lapses, the mega project designs, like maybe if you guys want to see a mods list video, if you want to kind of see all the mods and me go in detail about them and all those type of things, maybe even tutorials of some kind. I'm not sure what exact tutorial I would do, but maybe like you like how I lay out my roads and you want to see how exactly I do them, what the amount of blocks, things like that. Feel free to ask. And any other thing you can think of video wise in terms of a format that you would like to see. If you just like to see live commentary built as a video, that could be an option as well. So just definitely let me know down below. That is pretty much all the information for the new city. Following this video will be time-lapse number 1, which is already in production. And I have time-lapse 2 nearly recorded and done. So I'll have these. I'm going to try to make a bunch and just have them kind of preloaded, ready to go for the next couple weeks. And that will at least be the goal. So I'm going to be moving soon and all that stuff. It's going to take up a lot of time. But I'll get a lot made and I'll try to pre-release them and so you guys can enjoy them. I can also go back and look at them too. That is the main thing, kind of a time capsule. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you're excited for this new season of Panhandle City. And I know I certainly am. And we will see you guys in the first time lapse.